Isaac Sarason is a skilled hacker formerly employed by British Telecom-Sprint. With his health failing, Isaac did the only thing he could think of. He ran. He found a haven in a working-class district of the city known as Little Russia. There Isaac took on a new name, Ishmael. Within hours of his arrival, he was embroiled in the affairs of a brutal member of Lomidze organized crime family known as Leo. Convinced by a longtime friend, Frankie, to flee from his commitments to the Lomidze family, Isaac found himself hunted by the ruthless Leo. On a rooftop, far from witnesses, Leo murdered Frankie. Only through the use of his skills as a hacker was Isaac able to drive Leo off. Now wounded, alone, and far from help, Isaac depends on the kindness of strangers. What do you do when the only way to save those you love is through the use of proxies? Colbyjack.net is proud to present Firmware Proxy by Colbytrax. 8. How much of the network is compromised? Rama asked. I felt my clarity fading. I had to get him on my side before I lost the ability to communicate. None of it! I never told a soul about you or the Brotherhood. I simply used what I learned to secure the systems at BTS. I pleaded. The girl, Nona Kezbegi, she needs your help, please. You used us, Rama responded. You slipped into our network and used all of our tricks to strengthen your bosses. How much of your exploits are manufactured? Did you really discover the switch hack, or was that the work of your team at BTS? Did you really do the maximum metal hack? The mind is a strange thing. I was quickly losing my ability to communicate, and all I could think about was the maximum metal hack, about how I spent nights writing the code, testing it over and over again, trying to streamline it, trying to make it fit within the standard update packages of a dozen vastly different manufacturers. I remember when Murray took me into his office and told me about the secret region coding, how he showed me where it was in the packets, how he told me that BTS didn't want this anymore, how the 111th floor had decided that it wasn't in their best interests to play nice with governments. Sure, Murray said in a roundabout way, monopoly conditions are always nice. But there comes a point where the public begins to associate the company with the regime. Once or twice isn't bad. But when it becomes the perpetual headline, that is just bad for business. Besides, bleeding heart sponsors of underground groups generated a tremendous amount of revenue for the BTS financial arm. Every time someone donated 10 joules to some repressed collective in Son of Heaven-controlled China, BTS payment fulfillment made a joule in fees. That was something the suits on the 111th floor could not stand for, blocking revenue because some government objected. So yes, I did do the hack. But Murray showed me what I needed to do. My access to the Switch update repository gave me the ability to push the hack worldwide, and my security access made it possible for me to cover my tracks. In the final analysis, it was BTS that made the hack possible. It was BTS who gained the most when a rogue hacker prevented their system from filtering the world's data in a manner that did not generate revenue. I had been just another tool in the arsenal of big business. Here's the truth, I said, hoping Rama would believe me. I programmed the switch hack. I packaged the hack into the system updates for the switches. The thing is, I did it because my boss wanted it done. It was their deliberate lack of oversight that made the hack possible. It took Rama a long time to respond, though I could not be sure if it was truly a long time or just my failing brain. Lying, stinking piece of shit. You're so dead. Words were becoming slippery. I had to convince him before I lost him forever. I am so sorry, I answered. I know I violated everything the Brotherhood stands for. I know I violated your trust. I know you have every reason to hate me. But please, do not let your anger for me kill Nona." There was no response from Rama. He was still in the chat room. The system would have notified me if he'd left. He just wasn't responding. I found myself stuttering, lost in the sound of one word after another. I had to do something which transcended words. "You want trust? You want to know something about me that no one else knows? Some type of proof? Then here it is." I reached to a pile of cables beside the oversized television I used for a monitor and selected one. My fingers trembled and the room spun with the exertion as I plugged one end of the cable to a port on the Opemapo null and the other into the interface port above my right ear. A monster of a migraine started as soon as the Opemapo activated the port. In the space behind my eyes, I saw the architecture of the Opemapo null laid bare to my inner sight. It was difficult to speak. Words didn't want to form. I felt a chill running through my fingers. The endless vistas of the Opemapo's structure called to me, beckoned me to return to the world of endless data. I heard a distant call which asked me to forget the world and my wasted body and fade into the machine. I tasted metal on my tongue and knew I didn't have long. But for what? Then I remembered, long enough to force the words out I needed to say. I didn't get the words right on my first attempt, nor my fifth. But I finally was able to croak out the commands I needed to say. "Computer, extract cerebral interface status packet." I started shivering. I felt cold sweep through my entire body. "Extraction complete," came the soft voice of the operating system. My hands shook with phantom Arctic cold. It took me 3 tries to find the interface release. My hands refused to work. Finally, the cable fell from my head and slipped to the floor. I heard a plastic slap as the plug struck the concrete. The phantom cold faded. The shivering passed with the last touches of the ghostly Arctic air. I lay still for a long time, feeling the pain behind my eyes slowly fade. "You still there?" Rama asked. He must want to believe. That had to be it. Why else would he sit around waiting for my return? A spark of hope grew in my chest. But what did he want to believe, and why was I hopeful? No, I needed to do something. I'd plugged the damn cord in for some reason. I stared off into space. What was I doing? Computer, interface cord, interface plugs. There was something I intended to do. Then it came to me. I framed the words slowly. The familiarity of the process helped to focus me back on the here and now. Computer, convert status packet to hex code. Place result in chat window and send. Packet sent, the always relaxed voice of the Opemapo null responded. What is this? Rama asked. There was something else I had to do. I slapped my head. Think, what was my intention with the cables? It couldn't have been just to show him my illness. There had to be another reason. Finally, it came to me. My voice was weak, but I got the commands right after only a couple tries. Computer, copy proxy routing, encryption setup, and keys to the chat window and send. Routing information sent. Rama, I started. My breath came shallow and rapid. What was the purpose of all this? Think, man, think! I found the first word and strung a second and a third and then a fourth. Then I was moving, my lips making the thought sounds at an instinctual level. The first dump is the status of my cerebral implants in hex format. Okay, got this far. More words. Think and go. My mind ran like a chainsaw in a zombie immersive. Hard to start. Ran great for about 3 seconds and then died when you really needed it. Finally, I pulled on the right words and my verbal engine roared to life again. You're a bright boy. I'm sure you know what to do with it. My verbal engine stalled. Time to cut the zombie horde, and the damn thing choked. There was more I needed to communicate. Find a word, pull on the word. If it doesn't start, try a different word. After a series of hiccuping starts, I found the word to start my stalling verbal chainsaw. The second dump is my current proxy routing information as well as my encryption and keys. If you follow it back, you'll find I'm running off a switch in the vicinity of the Amazov catfish farm in the vicinity of Little Russia. I sweated like I was in a sauna. My words kept stalling. I had to get them flowing again. I found a word, which led to another, and my words flowed again. You now know where I am and how I'm doing. If you really want to hurt me, call. I trailed off. Who would he call? I knew that word. A simple word. I slapped the side of my bed until the word came to me. Call BTS and ask. Damn, lost it again. I knew this one. They were the guys who kept guys like me from doing what I was doing. I shook my head, trying to clear the fog, and found the words I needed to finish this once and for all. And ask for security, employee, retention, and recovery. The Sarar will reward you handsomely for my return. There was a long break before Rama answered. I took his slow answer as a gift from God. I wouldn't have to talk for a little longer and had time to find the words I needed. This could all be faked. I had the Ephemepo read the entire conversation back to me. I needed to keep the point of what I was doing fresh in my mind. After hearing the recap, I found what I had to say coming to my lips easier. I cribbed my opening from a lecture I gave in graduate school. It's the Chinese box all over again. I could just be an AI messing with you, or a human being who needs your help to save a young woman from a vicious thug. When it comes down to it, you really have two options. The script ran out. I carefully pulled forth the words I needed to say. Thanks to the recap, I at least had one name down pat. I stumbled through the last of my spiel. Either he believed me or not. I had done everything I could think of to convince him. Call Sarar and report me. Fake or not, it doesn't matter. The result will be the same to you. Or believe me and help me save Nona and her unborn child. I responded. I was through. If he helped me, he helped me. If he didn't, I wouldn't survive long enough to do anything for Nona except die in the attempt. I waited an eternity before Rama responded. All right, I'll help. Just remember, I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it for the girl and her kid. Of course he was. No rogue could ignore a damsel in distress. Firmware, Proxy, is the second book in the Firmware pentology. That's 5 books, if you must know. It begins moments after Firmware Hijacked ends. So if you haven't heard or read Firmware Hijacked, this would be a good time to head on over to Colbyjack.net and either download the podcast on the audio side, read the episodes on the visual side, or download the Colbyjack Sunday Reader issues 1 through 20 in your choice of either EPUB or Mobi. Firmware, Hijacked, and Proxy are both available in ebook versions from our store at shop.colbyjack.net, amazon.com, and Barnes & Noble. Just search for Colbytrax. That's Colbytrax. I'm the only one. A complete audiobook version of both Firmware, Hijacked, and Proxy is available for download through our shop as well. If you don't need any stuff, but would like to support our work, drop on by Colbyjack.net and hit the pretty little donate button conveniently located on the right-hand side of the blog roll. If you're on a smaller screen, the button will be found at the bottom of the page. Firmware Proxy is released under a Creative Commons, non-commercial, attribution, share-alike 3.0 license. Do what you want with it, just don't sell it and always tell people where it came from. If you received this from a friend and want more information about Colbyjack.net and our split personality website, just drop on over to Colbyjack.net and select either the audio or visual side. The audio side carries our podcast, while the visual side carries our writings. Whichever side catches your fancy is fine with us. We're of two minds about the whole thing anyway. If you want to get social with me, I do mostly Twitter. So if you do the tweets and want to follow me, I'm Colbytrax. Spelled the same as above, Colbytrax. We could sing that all night long. Thank you once again, and have a wonderful week.